Hey guys, Humble back again. Welcome to my one big review of the Galaxy S23 Fan Edition. Fan Edition is nothing exciting. The timing on it is weird because the Galaxy S24 is coming out next month. It doesn't really excel at anything in particular, but at the same time, it is not bad at anything either. But you know, I like it for what it is. Today I'm gonna go over 10 categories and rank this phone from 1 to 5. 5 being the best. But before doing that, just want to give a quick shout out to my partner Mint Mobile. Currently they offer a 5G plan for as low as $15 a month, and we buy 3 months, you get 3 free. This is a limited time offer, so make sure to check them out. Link in the description below. First category we're going to talk about is the cool factor and design. This is a 4 out of 5 for me. The phone itself, pretty basic, just a standard candy bar shaped phone. It has aluminum frame, Gorilla Glass in the front and back, nothing exciting. It has the signature Galaxy look, still feels very premium. When I use the Galaxy A54, the A54 feels significantly cheaper, it's lighter, it's made of plastic. With the S23 FE, you can tell that it is more premium. It got good weight to it, got glass front and back. Although you can argue plastic is more durable, but just glass and aluminum in general feels more premium compared to plastic. This phone's not gonna wow anybody. If you look at it compared to the Galaxy S23 Plus, it is basically almost the same exact phone just in terms of design, but instead of paying $1,000, you can get this one at $600 or less. Next category is battery life. With this phone in general, I get about 13 to 16 hours a day under normal usage. It's not crossing the 24-hour battery mark by any mean, like the iPhone 15 Pro Max or the OnePlus Open. Then again, those phones cost more than $1,100. So for half the cost, you get half the battery life, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. It's still a full work day of battery, a little bit more. Wireless charging works fine on this phone, 15 watt fast charging. If I'm sitting on my desk working all day, I can leave it on a wireless charger, and by the time I go to bed, I still have 50% left. If I don't use wireless charging, then it's gonna die in 13 to 16 hours. So depending on your lifestyle, this phone can be pretty sufficient just in terms of battery life. And when you do need to charge it, it has 25 watt fast charging, which is pretty standard for a lot of flagship phones these days. Apple, Samsung, the Mi flagship phone is anywhere from 20 to 30 watt fast charging, so nothing crazy. Doesn't come anywhere close to OnePlus with a 60 to 120 watt fast charging. But at the end of the day, the battery life should last you a day. If not, you can just top it off. Next category is customization and features. This is a 4 out of 5 as well. It doesn't really fold or bend. It has a solid camera. Basically the same as the whole S line. The only thing it's missing is the 100x zoom on the Ultra model. One thing I do like, it does have Samsung DeX at the $600 price range. For whatever reason, Samsung left it off the Galaxy Z Flip 5, but it is included on this phone at half the cost. And after using DeX and Motorola's version of desktop mode, I like Motorola better because you can access all 3 screens. For some reason, when I use Samsung DeX on the computer, I can only have DeX on 1 screen. I guess I can still move it to a different screen, but I can't drag my apps across all 3 different screens. I feel like Motorola is more intuitive and easier to use. Samsung DeX, they got the wireless DeX, they got the wired. For some reason, sometimes when I hit the wireless option, it doesn't always detect my computer or screen, but I have an easier, when I was using the Motorola, the process just works easier for me and I had less issues in terms of connectivity. Next category is camera. This is a solid 4 out of 5 for me as well. I'm not sure if you're starting to see a trend here, but regardless, this phone camera is more than enough for 95% of people out there. Has great videos, great photos. I'm currently using the portrait video mode on this phone to record this video, and overall it's gonna do the job just fine. But you're not getting the best of the best camera, but it is more than adequate. Performance, it is a 4 out of 5. Chip is fast, smooth. There are some occasional hiccup when I switch between apps. If I'm playing a game like Pokemon trading card game and I switch to a text, sometimes when I switch back, the game will restart. It doesn't happen all the time like it would on the Pixel 8 and Pixel 7, but it did happen every now and then, just so you have to be aware if you're in an intensive battle. You don't want to switch to another app and then end up losing the game automatically by default. It is using a 1-year-old chip, but it's still fast enough for the price. screen is another solid 4 out of 5. You are getting 1080p display instead of Quad HD, 1450 nits instead of 1750, 2000, 3000, 4000, whatever other manufacturers are offering these days. So on paper, it's nice to have the higher number, but I think 1080p is enough for most people. And even 1450 peak brightness is more than enough as well. It really only comes to play if you're standing directly under the sun. And every time I use this phone outside, there's never a situation where I feel like it isn't bright enough or anything like that. But it's always nicer to have the higher number. So I did deduct a point just because it doesn't offer the best of the best. But at the same time, you're not paying top dollars, so you can't really expect to have the best of everything. You can expect, however, to get 80 to 90% of everything at this price. And I think it's pretty promising. Next category is update. I'm giving it a 4 out of 5 as well. You're getting 4 years of software updates, 5 years of security updates. Apple generally support their phone for 5 to 6 years. The Pixel 8 is supporting their phone for 7 years. So with the Pixel, you're getting better value and long-term software support. And with the Galaxy S23 FE, it is starting off with Android 13, and the Pixel already has Android 14. So right off the bat, in order to upgrade this phone to the Android 14, you're already losing 1 cycle of software update, so that gives you only 3 left. Like I mentioned, kind of a weird timing just in terms of the release of this phone in October 2023. And in January, I do expect the Galaxy S24 to have Android 14. Next on the list, we got ecosystem. This is a 4 out of 5 for me as well. I'm being a little nitpicky here, but it all depends on where you live and how the ecosystem comes into play. In the US, the majority of people use iMessage, although RCS is coming to Apple next year. They say with the newer phones, I'm not sure if they're going to trickle down to the older model as well. But regardless, green bubble versus blue bubble is still a thing. And it's just much easier as of right now to be in the Apple ecosystem because people can send videos and photos, everything at high quality. If you are one Android user, it tends to messes up the group chat and everything. And this is mainly a problem in the US. Anywhere else in the world, people just use WhatsApp and an alternative chat app, so that's not really an issue. So depending on where you are, this can be easily a 5 out of 5. It has all the apps and everything as well. Apple generally do tend to get newer apps first, but at this point, there's nothing that Apple has that I wish Android does have, and vice versa. So ecosystem, it can be easily a 4 or 5 out of 5 depending on your personal preference. I just decided to knock off a point. Finally, the last category is value, and I'm actually giving this one a 5 out of 5. This phone is released at $600, but currently you can get it for $500. The Galaxy S23 is released at $800, but you can get it for $700 on the Amazon, at least in the US. So this phone is $200 less than the Galaxy S23, and you do get a bigger phone with 90% of what you can get on the Galaxy S23. S23, you do get the newer chip, which does come into play just in terms of processing and performance wise, but you don't need to do all that multitasking, switching between apps and doing a lot of things at once. I think you can get away with the Galaxy S23 FE if you want to save the $200. Galaxy A54 right now, you can get it for $375. I personally wouldn't even touch it. I feel like the A series, it just feels cheaper, it's a little bit slower, it's missing some of the camera function that you would normally get on the S series, so I am personally not a fan of the A series. Alright, and so to tally it all up, it is a total of 37 out of 45, which is 82%, which is a solid B. So with the Galaxy S23, basically straight 4s across the board. The only 5 I gave it is for the value. And I think for that, it might be worth it if you're trying to save a couple $100. Overall, I think it is a solid phone. It feels pretty premium. Offers almost everything that you do get in the S series without having to pay the S premium price. And you're just looking for a solid phone that works, that is bigger, has a decent processor, decent camera, good screen, decent battery life. I think this one has it all. And if you like Samsung One UI, this is pretty comfortable, familiar. It feels like any other S phone I've used. So I think it's a pretty good value for what it is. Alright guys, thank you for watching. Let me know if you have any thoughts, questions, concern, anything else you want me to cover. Please check out my Day in the Life series if you haven't already. I only did a couple of videos on those. I feel like when I use this phone, it's not really much I need to say about it. It feels like any other Galaxy phones I've used. It is solid, it's safe, it's stable, and it comes at a good price. So that's pretty much all I have for you guys. Appreciate the time as always, and see you guys in the next video.